What is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast. This is episode 627. I am your host, Stevie V, alongside holding down the fort with me on this Christmas week, the lovely and talented Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. Merry Christmas, boo.
Hello, darling. Merry Christmas. It's my favorite time of year, boo.
Exactly. It is for me too. It can be a little chaotic, as we were talking offline before this, but when you really get down to it, it really does bring family together. And I understand you are with your family over there in New Jersey, correct?
I am. I'm with my mom, my sister, my brother. We are all having a great time. It's great to spend time with family and connect and really just get that bond back together. So this is the perfect time for that. And I think I'm going to go out tonight. Because I need to be a drink. Because like you said, it can be stressful around this time.
Yes, exactly. I know. We've been running around here. I'm here in the Bay Area, California, where I grew up with my mother right now. We have friends and family coming over tomorrow, which should be a lot of fun. And we just picked up the tamales, which is a Mexican tradition for many Mexicans, and that's what we eat for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And so we just picked them up, and they smell delicious. So
perfect. Save one for me.
I will save one for you. I also spent Christmas with my boyfriend right before I left here. We did a double feature and went to two theaters, separate ones, because they weren't playing the movies we wanted at the same theater. But you know, those really cool theaters that have really good food, and you can get cocktails. We got about 2 bottles of wine at each different theater. But we had a great time. My boyfriend has this thing where he likes to bring his own blanket too, which I was like, you're okay, Linus. But it was big enough. And we were in this little cove area watching Gladiator 2, our second film. And it was really good. I mean, the men are hot. Pedro Pascal, huge fan of, is in it, and Denzel Washington, of course, is in it. It was really good, action-packed, bloody, all good stuff. And it was a good double feature with a film, Wicked, that we finally saw Wicked, and I loved Wicked. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What did you think? Tell me all about what your thoughts are.
I loved it. I loved the story. I loved both. Cynthia Erivo just kills it. I thought all the visuals were just fantastic. I loved the music. I was crying at times. I thought it was very touching, and I can't wait for part 2 or act 2, which comes out a year from now. So I told my boyfriend, we have to at least stay together for another year because we have to see part 2, act 2 together. He was like, okay.
Oh my goodness. What a way to get another year out of him.
I got another year out of him.
I guarantee, lock it down. You better sign that lease, girl.
Okay, exactly. But so much fun doing that. And then we went out afterwards and painted the town, and just had a great time before I made my way over here to California. So all good. And this is our year in review, where we are talking about a lot of the topics that made headlines throughout the year. We'll do part 1 this week, and then part 2 next week on New Year's Eve day week, where we just kind of review all the hot topics, or a lot of the hot topics that really made some headlines. But before we do that, we'll do a few hot topics. And I wanted to just start off, it is officially, might feel like it already, like it's been winter, but it's officially winter. And with winter comes Capricorn season. And I am excited about Capricorn season because it's my birthday month. And if you were born between December 22nd and January 19th, I'm January 12th. Capricorns are ruled by Saturn, the planet of structure, discipline, and perseverance. As an early sign, they're grounded and pragmatic, often laser focused on their goals. Represented by the mountain goat climbing ever higher, they thrive on challenges, steadily working towards success no matter how rocky the path may be. Capricorns are planners by nature. That's so true for me. Valuing stability and tradition while still possessing the ingenuity to break boundaries when needed. Though they may seem reserved, their loyalty and dependability make them cherished friends and allies. And for LGBTQ plus Capricorns, these traits often translate into building meaningful movements, careers, and communities that endure the test of time. So, welcome Capricorn season, and I am excited, just like I said, because it's my birthday month, and yeah,
Perfect. I
you get
love
along
it.
really well with Capricorns as
I
well.
definitely. I'll always have. My sister's a Capricorn, and I mean, we've had our ups and downs, but she's my sister, so I love
Exactly.
her, and I love
No,
you.
there you go. I know my sister is a Cancer, which is what you
Right?
are, and we get
Yep.
along great. My mother's a Cancer as well, so really cool. Oh, a
We
little
have.
thing that I did do. If you're going to come to San Francisco, there is an exhibit at the De Young Museum, Tamara de Lempicka, and she is
Ooh.
known for all of her mid-century modern art, a little bit of cubism, but really beautiful women that just had that 1920s pre-World War II look, all glamour, and the exhibit is just breathtaking. I mean, her artwork, I've always been a fan of it. Years ago, Madonna used it in some of her, she's a huge fan of her. She owns some of her work. And that's how I originally found out about Tamara de Lempicka. But it's a really great interactive museum with just amazing art. So it's here through February 9th, Tamara de Lempicka. Check that out. Uh,
Fabulous.
yeah, exactly. Let's stay on a few hot topics before we get into our year in review part one. And Dixon Dallas dropped a brand new song like Honey, and it fits into all of the style that he's known to, adding a lot of gay references. And I'll just read a few lyrics. I heard it, I sent it to my boyfriend. He loves country. Verse one is, I ain't ever been too good with my words, but you just look so good it hurts. So how about me and you get out of this bar? I know that sounds cliche, I'm sure. I bet you heard that same thing before, but I'll take my hand and I'll show you how you stole my heart. So it starts all sweet,
Oh,
right? And then he
oh,
gets
that's
into
so
the
beautiful.
until he gets into the chorus, which is great. That boy's so fine, and he's breaking my back, working up a
Oh,
sweat. Yeah, I like it like that. Making it clap till I see that morning light. Making
oh,
it clap till I see that morning light. He tastes so
oh.
sweet, something kind of like honey. Beat it up like I owe him money.
Oh my goodness.
Make it making it clap till I see that morning light. It's that
Well,
beating it up like I owe him money
uh,
line that
it took a turn right there. I was like, well, my goodness. You have my
exactly.
heart and you beat it up like see, you know what? That is what a good stable relationship is based on. Those two things. Being able to have romance and beating it up like you they owe you
Oh
money,
money, yeah,
basically.
like right. You need both of those, I
you
think, to make it work.
yeah, right? So, I'm
Yeah,
here for it.
exactly. I
It's my
know.
ringtone now.
Yeah, it's really good. I actually like his songs. And what do you think about Dixon always coming out with these tunes? They're very catchy. And I know you're not a country fan, but do you like some of his music?
Well, ever since Cowboy Carter. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah, right.
I've liked country for a long time. I was very big into the Dixie Chicks. I grew up listening to like Dolly Parton, of course, and
Reba.
various other things. Reba, I love Reba, but
Yeah.
yeah. So Dallas is not that far out of my wheelhouse, and he's speaking my language with these lyrics. So I think that this is fantastic. I think that he continues to push the envelope, and I'm here for it. So good
Yeah.
on you.
Yeah, I know. I'm really become a fan, and he's still quite mysterious in many ways. You know, he drops these songs, and a lot of the artwork often is either the backside of him. He's really sexy looking, but it's just I wonder as we move into the new year if he'll continue to drop these, if we'll get a tour, if we'll find out a little bit more about him. But right now, the elusive side of him is really intriguing to me, and I'm definitely want to hear more from him, and hopefully we will in 2025. I hope we have a bigger year of Dixon Dallas coming our way because he's sexy.
Okay. Love it.
Um, yeah, exactly. Well, the number one song that came out, believe it or not, is Last Christmas by Wham. It beat out All I Want for Christmas by Mariah Carey, and it's the second year in a row that it's made number one. Don't you find that I love that song? I know you love it too.
Yeah.
I even heard a remix of it too on my BBC Radio 1 recently that was kind of a warped version of it, but it was really good. And I don't know. I really liked it, but what do you think it beating out All I Want for Christmas and being the number one song?
I feel like mommy and daddy are fighting. These are two of my favorite artists that I've ever.
Uh-oh.
I know, right? I don't know who to pick. They're getting a divorce, and I don't know which side to go to. Who I want to live with, mommy Mariah or daddy, daddy. Oh my God, George Michael, Daddy
Yes.
George. I don't
Daddy
understand.
George.
Oh yes. But yeah, this. I mean, this is great. It's very shocking. I'm surprised that this song has come back and into the zeitgeist and has taken our hearts. So maybe people are really sad about Christmas because it's kind of a sad Christmas song.
Yeah,
So
actually it is. I mean, because he basically says you broke my heart
you
last
broke my
year.
heart.
And I guess the only positive is that he's somewhat optimistic when he says next year what does he say? Next year I'll find
And
somebody
to
new.
save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special.
So it's somewhat optimistic in that he's looking ahead, if you look at it that way. But yeah, it's definitely not a love song. It's basically a broken
No,
heart song. But apparently, I didn't know this, but Andrew, his former partner of
Ridgely. Uh-huh.
Ridgely, said that he wrote the song, George Michael, but he also plays all of the instruments in that song too. And he got it ready for Red Hot. I think the Red Hot and AIDS special album
Mhm.
for it, which it was made for. But he did all of the instrumentation too, which I think is pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, Daddy George or Yog, if you knew him, he's very talented. He produced a lot of his hits, so I love the song, and I'm so
Yeah,
glad that it's getting its shine again.
yeah, absolutely. Staying on music for a quick second, I know I sent you the video, but Kim Kardashian, of all people, dropped Santa Baby, and many people have sung that. Eartha Kitt originated it several years ago in 1953. It's a classic.
Wait, did
Madonna
Kim
did it.
sing it? Did Kim sing it? I don't know if that was singing
Yeah,
that she
she's
was
singing it
doing.
in the background. That's
Oh,
her singing it. And Travis Barker produced the song and the music video. Travis Barker is Courtney Kardashian's husband. So it's really Kim's brother in law. He's a musician in and of itself. And so
yeah.
he put this together. But, the song's been sung, like I said, by Eartha Kitt, who originated it 1953. Madonna sang it years ago, which is a really fun version of it as well. And several other people have too. But Kim doing it, it was really the music video, the accompanied music video, though, that just was dropped, I believe, yesterday. And it's kind of like a warped version of it. You can hear her singing it in the background, and she's slithering around in this party house with all these crazy scenes. There's a donkey at one point. There's a guy flexing his muscles, and she looks totally out of it as she crawls on all fours throughout this party, looking totally out of it, like she's drugged in my mind.
Yeah.
And at the tail end of it, Macaulay Culkin, of all people, right? Mr. Christmas Boy himself
Yeah.
is shown with a video camera. It just also has that old school video. I mean, it's quite creative in many ways, but it's kind of dark too at the same time. What did you think of it?
I the video is
Yeah,
it's it's kind of off-putting, but I uh, took myself out of all of my preconceived notions and what I think Christmas and kind of this song should look like. And then I got into it a little bit more. And I do think it's very artistic and I think it has a viewpoint. Her vocals leave something to be desired because that
yeah.
lady, I don't understand. But
Well, it's kind of
why
one of those songs that you can just kind of sing babyish,
yeah.
and because it's not really, you can almost talk through it. The other thing on the music video that you saw too is the music's almost like in the background because you hear this party house and then all the crazy shenanigans going on are kind of front and center. So it's the song's really not an afterthought, but it's just
It
sort of
it
like in
definitely
the
is an afterthought.
background. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So it's strange. I mean, I guess you can put it, a lot of people want to always hear happiness and all kinds of things, but Christmas can mean a lot of things for different people. So in
Oh.
many ways, I think it's kind of cool and original. I know a lot of people like to. I went to Santa's Secret, which is all a sexy version of Christmas, which I think is really cool. A lot of people are fans of Die Hard, which many people consider a Christmas movie. And I saw it for the first time. I said, I'm going to sit myself down. I sat with my friend and we watched it. He'd watched it a million times, but I had never watched it before. And I actually quite liked it. It's not what you would think a Christmas movie is, but it's set in Christmas time.
Mhm.
And it was kind of fun to watch it at this time of year, but not fuzzy, warm feelings like we always think of Christmas. So, I mean, I guess it can kind of go into that category of alternative types of Christmas, if you will.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. I've dealt for a little alternative sometimes, but again, I think we get really wrapped up in, like you said, having the warm and fuzzies around this time that we forget that there's other perspectives out there as far as Christmas can be, because all the time everything is happy around this time. So I get it, and good on her, I
Yeah.
guess, for
Right.
bringing this to our attention.
Zeitgeist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't want to use it again. I was like, "Oh, I
Right.
used it
I'll
once
use
already."
it. Yeah.
They're gonna be like, "Kodi only knows one word."
Right, exactly. One quick thing, we all have been keeping our eye on the Luigi Mangione capture of him, of course, murdering that United Healthcare CEO on the streets of,
Allegedly.
allegedly, but it sure looks like he did. And then people fanning out over him just on the way he looks. Well, recently, the Cooper Koch, who played Eric Menendez in Monsters on Netflix, was asked on the red carpet. He just got a Golden Globe nomination for that role, by the way, in Monsters, playing Eric Menendez.
Ooh.
So congrats to Cooper Koch. Cooper, as we know, is gay and sexy and killing it. And congratulations, like I said. But the entertainment reporter asked him, a lot of people have been wondering if they make the film version or the TV version, a lot of people think you resemble Luigi. And they asked him what he thought. His response was, yeah, I think I need to stay away from these true crime for a while and go in a different direction. And when asked, do you think you look like him at all? Some people were saying, he said, I could see the resemblance. I thought he handled that question pretty good because, and
Yeah.
no, I don't think he should play it, even though, because wouldn't that just typecast him?
I feel like he's capable of so much more, and I feel like I've seen him in other things in other
Yeah.
roles where it was nothing like any of his monsters things, and he's really talented. The only thing that I don't agree with is that he looks anything like Luigi Mangione. I don't think that they look anything alike. So I think that there's a better fit. I think he was a better fit, especially for the Menendez brothers. But so I think there's another actor out there, and it's not coming to my mind immediately, but I do think that there are people out there that could play Luigi better than Cooper Koch.
I think to me, he does resemble him. They've got that hair that's kind of those waves and curls, and I don't know. They showed them side by side, and I could see it. And I think with a little bit more makeup and the magic of Hollywood, or
Yeah.
Ryan Murphy, I should say, that they could definitely make
Not
him look
Tyler
like
Perry,
him.
because them Tyler Perry wigs be looking awful.
Yeah, no Tyler Perry wigs, please. But they're
But
both pretty boys when you think
yeah.
about it, and they have similar bone structure, so I could see it. But I agree with him. I don't think you should play it because it's too close. I mean, he's a murderer in one, and then going to be a murderer in another one. He would totally be typecast, and
Yeah.
it would have to be a lot of money, and maybe down the road after he did like so many other types of films, I think in
Yeah, I
between
can see
there.
that.
So
It's
I
the
don't know.
nose for me. Going back to the look, sorry. But I think it's the noses for me because I feel like Cooper Koch's nose is a little bit more uh uh
But near,
dainty. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see what happens, and maybe they won't make the movie for of this or the show of this for a couple years, because I think they should let it cool down a little bit, because this everybody is talking about this right now. It's
Yeah.
all a buzz.
Right, exactly. Okay, and lastly, before we get to our year in review, part one, a lot of people have been talking about what is a dad body. A lot of people have been throwing that term around, and it's just nobody still seems to know anymore. Remember when that term first came out, Kodi? It was a dad body was really like a father that had kids and maybe didn't really work out that much at all. Maybe had a
Yeah,
pot belly.
Al
And
Bundy.
Al Bundy, yeah. And lately, people have been asking the question, the dad body, like, what are we talking about? Because a lot of the people that they're thinking have dad bodies are people like John Hamm, Jason Momoa, who I don't think has a dad body at all,
What?
Jason Kelsey, dad bod, and a lot of people are, please don't think that this is a dad body. And it's like somebody that clearly looks like they worked out a lot. Somebody wrote on the dawn of the dad body trope felt like a new age of body acceptance for men, but actually it continued to suggest almost impossible targets of being both laid back and vain, wrote GQ in 2019. 5 years later, the definition doesn't seem to be any more concrete. And some people on X recently were proclaiming the dad body is the top male physique, only to post a picture of a ripped guy. Maybe he just doesn't have, in a lot of the pictures you see, a six pack or an eight pack, but he's
Hmm.
totally jacked in many other ways. And that's what people are calling a dad body. Yeah, do you think, I mean, I'm glad that we're thinking dad body means different things, but do you think that we've gotten, what is a dad body to you? And has it got misinterpreted throughout the years?
Well, I feel like the two things, there are two separate things. So I think that was it GQ that
Yes.
GQ is talking about, and the pictures that they showed was a daddy body, like sexy daddy, and a dad bod. To me personally, is like you said, somebody who maybe worked out when they were in high school or college, and they maybe were on the football team, but as the time has progressed, they've let themselves go. So they still have that foundation for to be muscular, but they have a little bit of a beer belly. They have hairs coming out of their ear. They have a little bit of their butt is
Ooh.
sagging a little bit. I have that ear hair, and I have to shave it all the time. So
Okay.
I little fun fact about Kodi. So, but yeah, I think that it's something. Someone who has let themselves go, and I think it can get conflated a lot because we use dad and daddy kind of interchangeably.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, I guess it's good that there's different. I always thought dad body was just somebody that was a dad and kind of let themselves go, more of a pot belly. But I mean, I guess it's whatever you want to call it. I mean, if somebody said I had a dad body, I'd be somewhat insulted for sure.
Me too.
But I don't know. My thoughts on daddy previously were when people would call me daddy or want to call me daddy, I was like, I was insulted on that. And now I've owned it. Okay, there's been a few more years added to my age, so I don't mind it as much. But originally, I was insulted. So maybe it's just one of those terms that it's being reclaimed and it doesn't have to mean such a bad negative connotation for different people, but I
Yeah,
do think it's not everyone's idea of a dad bod is we're not all on the same page, and I think that's what this article was suggesting, that what really is a dad body, because could be different for different people and different interpretations. You almost have to know what that person is thinking, but I wouldn't throw that around to people because you might insult some people.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
so definitely. Oh my gosh. Well, before we get into our year in review, just a reminder that this week is Christmas, and Christmas falls when we do Tags Live on Wednesday. So no show tomorrow night. So we are off, and we'll be off the following Wednesday too when it's New Year's Day. But rest assured, we are back in 2025 with all new shows. And we have Tags Podcast, like I said, as you're listening to it this week, as well as next week as well. And it's our year in review, and we'll give you some hot topics as well. Also, just to remind you that we have a really cool Patreon page. It's our Tags Patreon community where I post a bunch of stuff, that behind the scenes content every week, and that's for free. So just go over there and grab a free tier at patreon.com/tags podcast and join that free community. But if you want to and you're feeling the holiday spirit, go ahead and grab a tier. And we've got 3 different tiers, and it's a great Christmas present for a fellow listener. Or if you want to support Tags, the show you've known and come to love, we really appreciate it. It keeps us doing what we love here on our end. And you can grab a tier also at patreon.com/tags podcast. Okay, well, it's our year in review on what were we talking about. Let's see how some of these topics really hold up, and it's part one. So I'm just going to go through some of the topics, and we'll discuss some of the headlines that made our Tags podcast. We're going to go through May. Little Nas X comes to mind as one of the top topics we've been talking about all year long. But if you remember early in the year, as opposed to now, where he had a single called J Christ and an album that I believe dropped, correct? But it just didn't do well at all. And the lead
Yeah.
single was J Christ, with a huge, expensive music video that came along with the single that had all kinds of references to Catholicism and him on the cross. And it was really well produced, but there was references to the devil as well. It did not land very well. The song didn't either as well. I think it made its way only to 69, which is kind of interesting, which Little Nas X tried to joke, I made 69. But
Right.
it was a song that ultimately didn't pander for him. And as we know, later on in the year, he dropped that project completely and is reinventing himself for new music, which I like the current song that's out right now, and repackaging himself with moving to New York. But what did you think of that moment when he was dropping all that, which was going to be huge, J Christ?
Yeah, I was just kind of disappointed in that moment. I really wanted it to be successful. I feel like he has so much to say and such a great perspective as an artist, and he's really smart. So the fact that it didn't do as well as everybody thought it was going to do was disappointing. But he's still out there making music. He's should be releasing something very soon, from what I understand. And I feel
Yeah.
like he learned a lot of lessons as far as that was concerned, about how and when and why to promote things. So he's
Yeah.
going to be just fine. But I probably should go back and listen to that album. What do you think?
I think that I'm in this whole year, we've seen him try and drop this huge album that just didn't land. But like I said, it's nice to see at the end of the year that he's been able to really reflect, deal with all of his haters in a really positive way. And I like the new music so far. And so I think it did seem like it was going downhill there, but he managed to pull us back up at the end of the year. And I'm looking forward to what's to come in 2025. So it was all of the emotions for him, and I'm excited for what's to come. Um,
Awesome.
Somebody we talked about early on in the year that has also been making some waves at the end of the year was Lucas Gage. If you remember, the year before, Lucas got married to his ex-husband. Uh, I believe, I forget his ex-husband's name. That's how.
Chris Appleton.
Chris Appleton, yes. And that only lasted a short while, but Lucas threw shade at his ex-husband, and um and I believe just was dealing with all of the breakup. And now it looks like Lucas is talking about totally different things, but that was a big headline that we were talking about, Lucas. And I don't know, I'm excited for him to see what's to come too. But he is he are you excited to see what's to come with Lucas Gage?
Moderately. I like him as an actor, and I think that he's very interesting. I am more interested in seeing the films and the TV shows that he's in than I am about his sex life or his relationship life, because that was that whole thing with Chris Appleton, that just seemed really, really messy. So
Yeah.
I think he should take a break from that, in my personal opinion, and being out there in the world in that nature, and kind of just focus on being a great actor, because he is a great actor.
I agree with you too, because some of the newer stories I've looked him up, and he's basically complaining that the media basically outed him and he doesn't really like that side of it. But I feel like he put that in our face with Chris Appleton, his
Hmm.
romance with him. They were all over social media. They got married with none other than Kim Kardashian as they got whisked away on her private jet to Vegas. And you can complain about it now, but you really put it out there. He really put it out there at the time. So it's hard to go back when you put everything out there in a huge way like he did. So yeah, I think he should just focus on his acting, and we'll look forward to see what he's doing. But yeah, moderately looking forward to is a good word.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things that for our health that we heard about all year long that never seemed to come to major fruition, which is a good thing, was mpox or monkeypox. And it was the underlying threat that seemed every couple months throughout 2024 there would be a new report that I was always talking about, like new cases of mpox, new severe cases in Africa threatened to come to the UK, more on their way to the US. And well, I'm sure there were some cases. It never seemed to have the major, thank goodness, impact that it did originally when we first got. And I know I kept saying that I was going to go get a vaccination for it. I still haven't. I probably should, but it was kind of the second round that threatened in the background, but never really came to fruition, which is a good thing, right, Cody?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's always good to be aware and vigilant about this kind of thing, but and protect yourself. But the hope is that you never have to worry about it ever again. But we're still going to stay vigilant and make sure we're protecting ourselves.
Absolutely. And other things that were in our health news, New York planned early on in 2024 to stop STIs with administering doxypap. And for those of you who know, doxypap, when taken within 72 hours of maybe a lot of sexual activity, can prevent STIs like chlamydia and gonorrhea, which is a great thing. And I've taken it before, and I'm assuming it worked because I didn't have any STIs. And I feel like over the year we were talking about doxypap, but it just became more in our common vernacular as the year went on, and which is a good thing. And I think New York's always at the realm of talking about these things. And so I don't know. I think that was a good thing that came about in it wasn't invented in 2024, but it became more in our arena of things that we discuss now, and to prevent the spread of STIs.
Yes.
Two DC gay men that we talked about that we hopefully won't have to talk about anymore had overdosed due to fentanyl, and it had caused a powerful response by the community. And I hope we hear more of people using fentanyl strips if they're going to partake in certain extracurricular activities. And so I'm just, I hope we don't hear more stories of that. One thing
Same
that made
here.
it, yes, exactly. Sniffies, we seem to be our favorite app that we talked about. It's not really an app, it's a platform, but how we meet people. But they introduced a feature early on in 2024, and it was vanilla mode. It was a way, what does vanilla mean? Well, ever find yourself being horny while working out at the gym, in the middle of a shift, riding the subway, visiting family members? Well, Sniffies has got it for you. It's called Vanilla Mode. And with a quick and simple toggle in the app's setting menu, you can turn on Vanilla Mode and keep browsing without worrying about explicit pictures showing up on the map. This means that all explicit photos are blurred out, making your experience of using Sniffies in front of other people in public a little bit more private. they could do that, or you can have your screen, Kodi, where you can't see on either side of your screen, correct?
Yep, I have I guess a blackout screen protector to where if you look at it from not face on, then you won't be able to see what's on there. So, but I'm also probably going to try using vanilla mode because as good as those blackout screens are, I still had some issues with
Ooh.
people looking on my phone and seeing some not safe for work content on there.
I guess. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Be careful with that. So consider vanilla mode.
Yeah.
Okay. Other people making headlines in 2024 included Ricky Martin and his fetishes, including putting his feet out there, which I was very happy about. And it was the year of Tristan Shoecraft. If you know, Tristan was as the CEO of Mister, which administers PrEP, but he had a big year at the tail end of the year when it was widely known that he bought the Abbey in West Hollywood and is subjected to buying so many of our gay establishments, including a lot of the businesses in Fire Island. And he has a brand new hotel in Puerto Vallarta, too, that is really taking off. A friend of mine works there now, but he went really far from just being the CEO when he was of Mister when he was on our show. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and I just feel like he had a star-studded reopening of the Abbey towards the tail end of the year. So we will continue to look at Tristan. Madonna had her concert in all. It continued into 2024. I saw her in Vegas. Ricky Martin came on stage as she had many celebrities come onto her stage, and it really did look like he had a heart on stage, didn't
Oh yeah, for sure.
it?
It looked amazing. I was like,
Yes.
oh, I want to be that dancer.
Thank you. This was also the year that Jeremy Soft launched his new boyfriend in
Mm.
March. And I was fortunate to meet our co host's boyfriend, as you were as well, when he visited us this past December. And we had a great time celebrating his birthday. And my boyfriend got to meet Jeremy's boyfriend, and that was really exciting. It was the year I got a boyfriend too, and we just recently celebrated 7 months. And I don't know that I soft launched him. I kind of just hard launched him all at once and ran with it. But things are still going strong, and that all happened in 2024. Grinder turned 15. You know, the app that we all love to hate so much, which I thought was really interesting. But you got to give it to them. They are at the forefront of the apps, and to hang around, I would say they were one of the first apps, not the way we meet people, but just the style of apps that they are.
Yeah.
And, feel how you want about them, but they did turn 15. John Sibley hard launched his boyfriend as well. And he was recently in the news talking about his boyfriend and how it's going. He has an OnlyFans boyfriend.
I know.
Yeah, and he's
I
very
was
proud
like,
of
oh,
it. He also
yeah.
said in a recent interview, too, that he's very happy to show a lot of PDA. He thinks it's really a positive thing. He feels it's very progressive to put it out there. A lot of people that are in show business limelight that are gay don't like to put that out there as much. I mean, Lucas Gage did, but now he's retracting it a lot. Well, John Sibley is very proud of his boyfriend who does OnlyFans, and he said he would love to collab with him sometime. He keeps threatening that he will, and I think we would all like it. Our other co-host, Teddy, on a thread that we are in, sent us a picture of the two of them and said, is John Sibley looking in the mirror in this picture? Because in that picture, they really do look a lot alike. What do you think of John Sibley, what he's saying now, hard launching his boyfriend, and does he look like his boyfriend?
On that thread, I said to both of you that I couldn't really tell them. I can't say no that they don't look alike. They look a lot more alike than Cooper Koch and Luigi Mangione for sure.
Okay.
But I do think that this is a good thing as far as him and his boyfriend and how they're relating to one another. And you have to have an open mind when you have um, a partner that does the type of work that Johnny Sibley's um, partner does, and you have to have open communication. So it says a lot about them as people, that they're mature, that they can handle this type of thing, and the fact that uh, Johnny wants to actually get in on the OnlyFans potentially. I think that that is a great thing, and I can't wait to see that happen. So I'm waiting. I'm going to email him DM him every day and see what happens.
I love it. Yep, as well. Staying in entertainment news, Don Lemon got married. But who was on that guest list? It was a who's who. And as he marched down the streets of New York with his new husband, Joel Kim Booster said he wants his hookups to let him know in advance if they recognize him. And he is engaged to his partner as well, and they have an open relationship. The Pope condemned gender affirming surgery in 2024. And the Beastie Boys paid for gender affirming surgery for their former manager. All those topics that were making the rounds. And Darren Criss said he was culturally queer, which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And I know it rubbed you the wrong way. Remind the
Yeah.
people why you did not like that comment.
Well, I just feel like he is able to be protected from a lot of the social repercussions that queer people are forced to endure. So I think that while he may associate himself or have an affinity for the queer culture, and that's totally fine. He appreciates us and we appreciate him right back. As long as he's supportive, I think that it's a wonderful thing. But he can't truly understand, in my opinion, what it's like to walk this world as a queer person.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I didn't agree with you so much when I first heard it, but I think he learned a lesson and I heard what you were saying, and it did make a little bit more sense that
Yeah.
I knew where his heart was and what he was trying to say. And I think he's so well accepted within the community. But if you're not really queer, you can't really maybe say that as well, too. So I understood where everyone was
Yeah.
coming
And
from.
I understood where he was coming from totally, and I don't think that he said it with any malice or anything. So I'm not mad at him, but I just want to let him know, baby, you don't know what it's like. You have your own struggles, and I think that's perfectly fine. But yeah, it comes with a lot.
Yeah, right. And while we talked a lot about Sniffies in 2024, and it is probably one of our favorite spots for cruising, there was one thing we didn't like about Sniffies, and it had to do with the gear that they put out. Yes, they came out with the clothing line in 2024 and two separate lines throughout the year. And we ran it by our fashion guru, Jeremy Ross Lopez, who hated it. And you and I didn't really like it as much either. It was a miss for us. But nevertheless, it was fun to talk about and go through the
Hmm.
various clothing that they put out. And like you said before with Lucas Gage, maybe they should just stick to what they're good at. But who knows?
Oh.
2025 is a whole new year. Maybe they will nix it and have a whole new design team because, I wouldn't mind wearing some Sniffies clothes out there if they
I got
looked
one of their
good. So,
jocks. I got one of their jocks. I mean,
okay.
how
Did
can
you
you
like
mess up a
it?
jock?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
how
How can
can
you
you
mess up
mess
a
up a
jock?
jock?
All right. Okay. Well, we'll see if they continue that gear in 2025. And that brings us to halfway through the year. And next week, we will be coming back with a whole new roundup of the rest of what we were talking about in 2024. Does it still have legs? Do we care anymore? And there was one topic that we will lead off with that started in June, and we have been talking about the same person all the way up until the end of the year. Do you know who I'm talking about?
No, I want to know right now.
We
I'm
started at
excited.
the end of June in Pride,
Oh,
and
I
it
know.
Yeah. If you
That's a you.
know, yes.
When you put it like that, I
Oh,
remember now.
yeah. He made the headlines for the rest of 2024 for us, and probably we will continue to talk about it in 2025. Who is that? Well, you got to stick around and find out. Join us next week when we continue our year in review of Tags Podcast. What were we talking about? And I want to thank my co host for holding down the fort with me this week on this Christmas week. You know, you can
Always,
follow
bro.
Kodi on Instagram at Mr. Maurice and go to his Blue Sky account. Same handle at Mr. Maurice, where he's posted some very sexy photos. We didn't even mention, though, we'll talk more about it, but you dropped a single in 2024, and which was inspired by this
Oh
show. Talk
yeah.
about it, and it's available now. Great song to listen to in between. If you're getting tired of those Christmas tunes, put on Kodi's single Talk About It. It's such a great song, and I know you have new music coming out in 2025, correct?
Oh yeah. Oh definitely. Coming in hot.
All right, I love it. Follow me on the gram. I am _ Steve V, or go to my Blue Sky or Twitter X account, same handle at Tags Podcast. And when you do at Tags Podcast, you get a preview of my Just for Fans or Only Fans and new content coming out starting next week, all on those handles. So
Ooh.
in the meantime, have a Merry Christmas holiday season. However you celebrate the holidays, happy holidays. We here at Tags Podcast thank you for really being listeners and for supporting this show. And we are coming in strong, like Kodi says, in 2025. But stay tuned. We've got a new episode next week. We are off, though, with Tags Live this week and next week. And Kodi, in the meantime, continue having hot, gay sex
for Christmas.
Yes, lovely. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.